What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Chig coming at you with my first Path of Exile video. Today I'd just like to talk a little bit about the differences between D3 and Path of Exile, um, what I've learned in my first couple of days. Yeah, I do mean couple of days. I started playing about 10 days ago and let's see how many hours in I am. I am 162 hours into the game and I've been playing less than 2 weeks. That's how good this game is. So some of the things I wanted to talk about. D3 is a great game. I have several thousand hours in D3, but I did want to talk a little bit about the differences. So D3 is a very great game, but it's nowhere near as deep as Path of Exile. That being said, Path of Exile is very deep, and there's a lot of things in the game that are complex, but the complexity is very rewarding. So learning how to make your character and how to min-max and how to do some other things we're going to talk about here in a second. The very first thing that stood out to me is that the game comes in two parts. There's acts 1 through 5, and part 2 is acts 6 through 10. While 1 through 5 is pretty linear difficulty progression, you're getting a couple pieces of gear, your build's coming together, and you're learning kind of how to play them, what's going on. After you get to act 6, however, the difficulty curve is no longer straight. The difficulty curve goes kind of like, oh look, we're getting a little harder, a little harder, a little harder, and then you hit act 6 and it goes through the roof, and that can be disheartening. That's a really good segue into something else. When you first learn how to play the game, decide what kind of build you want to play. So there's so much complexity in the game that when you decide you want to play a build, if there's something that you already enjoy from another game, like any game that's an RPG that has battle elements, if you like Whirlwind Barbarian from D3, there's a build for that. If you like being punchy with a big two-hander and you enjoyed playing Cloud Strife in Final Fantasy VII, there's a build for that. Pretty much anything you can think of, there's something you can do. I mean, you can have minion builds, you can have builds that you don't even have to do anything but run around, and then you cast stuff and everything blows up. There's even a few builds that will literally crash the game. Like, there's anything and everything you could possibly want to do. When you decide that you want to play something, do not pick the best build in the game to start out. If you pick the best build in the game to start out, chances are that that build requires an exorbitant amount of currency to get started, and it is designed to do one thing and one thing only. I made the mistake of making a character that was for Magic Find. Well, I didn't know at the time, but that build not only was outdated, but there were better strategies to find items at that point. So I wasted all this time and all this currency leveling up this character and gearing it just to be like, oh, this isn't as good as the first guy I made that's super easy to play and just does all this stuff super quickly. So, first thing you need to do is you need to find out what build you want to play. Really good thing to start out doing is just look for a starter build. And let me show you how to do that. Super simple. Just pull up the Googles. Bam. Oh my god. Alright, so the great thing about starter builds, there's going to be a ton, and typically it's going to be the most recent that pops up if you Google search it. Thing about starter builds is there are people who have gone out of their way, completely just out of their way, to make sure that they have come up with a build that is not only super easy to level up, but it's also super cheap to gear and get to the in-game stuff so you can start making the currency that you need to go further and make the other builds and then get to the best builds. There are items, so this is a build that's supposed to be a starter build, and it is a starter build. And there's like unique items and all kinds of different stuff that I have that I've either found are bought for ridiculously cheap. Like, none of these items I'm wearing are anywhere near expensive. But there are some people that their build is just, I mean, ridiculous. I've spent very little currency on this, and there are builds that are like several hundred times more expensive. And they do the same thing, they just do it differently or faster. So decide what you want to do. Find a build that does that, that's starter friendly, and then play the game. So what I said a little earlier, we come up with a pretty good way to do this. Act 1 through 5, part 1 of the game, that's the training wheels. Well, part 2, when you start at Act 6, that is when the bully knocks you down and takes your bicycle. You have to kind of ease into that. You're going to die. You're going to go from, yeah, I got this, to mother, oh my god, I got wrecked. And there's no in between, unless you've grinded along the way. There are ways to smooth that out, but we're not going to go into that into too much detail in this build. Let's see what else. We've gone over your playstyle. We've gone over what you should do to get your first build. The economy in this game is fantastic. So when you decide you want to buy stuff, you know, you put things in your stash, yada yada yada. Well, when you decide you want to buy stuff, people who have premium tabs put things in here. And there's a website that is POA.trade, and I will show that to you real quick. Let me pull it up. And it's marvelous. So what happens is people put things in their stash tabs. Polyester synthetic oil, what the hell? Let's try this again, and let's POE.trade, because I clicked something. Cool. Alright, so here's the interface. Looks confusing as hell, right? Well, it's got a lot of information in it. So what you do is you just go down through here like, alright, cool. You're level, I don't know, say you're level 30. You have a level 25 axe, so you want to upgrade your axe, and you want to go down through here. So generic two-handed weapon. Maybe you don't even want an axe, you just want a two-hander because it fits what you're doing. Put in a level range, put in what you want, and you hit search. Bam! And it's just going to pull up random, like, here's all of the two-handers that are listed, and these are listed by price, so you know, all of these just cost one chance orb. We're not going to go into what the currencies are and what the differences are, but you just get a ton of utility out of this PoE search website. Like, if you need something, go find it. And then when you whisper a player, you click whisper, and it gives you this nifty little telling game, right? And it'll put in there all the information for that item. It'll put in there, you know, here, let me pull up a notepad and show you what it says, because I don't really want to bug that guy, because I'm not going to buy his item. Bam, right? I'd like to buy this thing, blah, blah, blah. This is where it's at. This is how much you have it listed for sale. And then they will invite you to a party. You'll go and you'll buy it, and there you go, transaction complete. But that makes doing things and finding things and upgrading your gear incredibly easy. And it's just marvelous. And in a game like this, where you go from playing games like D3 where there's no economy anymore because they closed the auction house, to there's items you can chase now and improve your character, and there's not necessarily a best set of gear, but there's an almost the best set of gear, right? Like this guy, he's nowhere near the best set of gear, but I haven't run anything I can't do yet. Plus, I love how the characters look in this game. This is just what the gear looks like. Like, I'm not using any mods or anything. This is just my dude. I'm wearing a cloth t-shirt with a metal helmet, and I have a mace and a whatever the fuck that thing is. Also, something that goes hand in hand with the items, when you get it, when you unlock it, when you get your area, when you get your hideout, learn to use the crafting bench. I played for so much time before I learned how to use the crafting bench. But if you take a yellow item and you plop it in there, you can make it better or worse, depending. But you can edit it, right? And it just makes it so much better. Like, this is what you need to learn that's going to help you in that mid game. When you get to Act 6 and you're getting dick stomped and you don't know what's going on and you've got a bunch of yellow items, well, I'm dying too much. So let's add some maximum life to my gear. Or let's add some more armor to my gear. Or let's add some more evasion to my gear. Let's add some more X, Y, and Z to my gear to help me stay alive better. The same thing for if you're doing other things, I guess. Um, and as far as that goes, the fucking crafting table looks awesome. Oh my god, you're an old timey engineer with spinny stuff and things. Ah. So yeah, find a video. Like I said, I've been playing this game almost 200 hours, and like 3 days ago I learned how to use this fucking thing, and I was already well over 100 hours into the game. The last thing that I want to say, the last suggestion I want to make: bring a friend to Rayclast. This game is marvelous. I have so many hours played by myself and learning things and trying to speed run and figure out how stuff works. But playing, clearing, exploring with a friend, I brought one of my buddies. Well, I guess he brought me because he played the game before I did. But we came in and we played the game, and just hours and hours and noodles of fun. And there was nothing that was bad about the multiplayer experience. And you can make friends and you can group up and you can do just anything and everything you want to do. The game is so deep and so complex and so much fun and so customizable that, I mean, even with the maps, when you get to the end of the game, right? Like, you do all kinds of things, and you get to where I have none of this uncovered really, but like, so your map does things, and you can edit this. You can make the end game what you want it, and that's a marvelous thing to be able to do. So just take your time and then kind of do some research before you start playing, and kind of have an idea of where you're going, because if you wing it, you're going to have a bad time. But if you don't wing it, it's going to be marvelous, and you're going to have a ton of fun playing this game. So I think that might be about it. If you have any more questions, drop them down in the comments. I'm not like the best player or the most experienced player of PoE, but I know where to look to find stuff, and I have a pretty good knowledge and have figured things out pretty well. If you like the video, like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you can to support the channel. I stream 3 or 4 days a week, maybe more, depending on how much time I have, over at Twitch TV/TheChig. Come hang out over there. Always like to have people to play with. I'm always playing with my viewers. If you have any questions, just hit me up over there and we'll answer them live. Any other questions you might have, shoot me a message, leave me a comment, and I'll get to them when I can. If you like this kind of video, let me know. I might try to make something else a little similar, kind of follow up on it. Anyways, I'll see you guys over on Twitch, I hope, and have a good one.